Hello and welcome to Steve's Vintage Model Builds. Welcome back. If you've stopped by before, I appreciate it. I appreciate all my subscribers. Up almost to 550 now, I think. Anyways, thanks to everyone who spends a little time with the channel here and with me. Hope you find it fun, enjoyable. Sometimes it's good for a derisive laugh at me, which is just fine. So anyways, I got to do something about the lighting, but I'm doing the best I can here. I signed an executive order yesterday that fired all the DEI employees in the lighting department. I'll get around to the production department, but these things take time. In any case, today we got a couple things. I've got a after build review and a new kit review, but before I even get to that, I've been meaning to show this. I got this in Japan, and I've been meaning to show it. Pretty nice, huh? All I have to do now is catch the chicken. So anyways, yeah, very, very nice here. Got a nice, beautiful handle. Some kind of gray wood. I don't know what kind of wood that might be ash, maybe. I don't know. And a blade and an edge here that's sharper than sharp. I mean, we all know about the Japanese and their blades. This is a Sanmai blade, which means it's in 3 layers. There's 2 outside layers and an inner layer. And so, anyways, it was pretty reasonable price. And yeah, so there you go. That was very nice. I've been looking for a nice cleaver for a while, and now here we are. Yeah, so there you go. And so, made in Japan. Lovely. Wonderful. Okay, next up is this. I picked this up in, I think it was October of 2023, just a couple months after I got back into the hobby. And interesting subject, and it's a diorama as well. It's Revell branded, but it's actually a Matchbox kit from 1983. And sorry about the Misterons here, well, glossy stuff. So anyways, yeah, the kit cost me $35, and it came and it sat on the shelf till I decided to get around to it, which was this week, or on the weekend actually, I guess. And so first off, in the original review, I gave this an 11. 11 out of 12. I thought it was a good value, and there's 2 subjects. It is a 176 kit, but 96 parts, and of course you get the diorama, and there's 3 figures as well. So the build went fine. There were a couple small things. The biggest small thing was the kit doesn't. There were no decals in this kit, which is unfortunate. There's not a lot of decals anyways, and I can probably dig something up. But yeah, that was a bit of a shame. So so I got to take a quarter point off from the 11 score to 10.75. And I have to take another quarter point off because they got the sprue racks or the sprue trees all mixed up. You know, they were saying stuff was on the C tree, but it was actually the B tree. So it was a bit of a treasure hunt. But then, you know, I figured it out, you know, slowly, as anybody who knows me, that's how I learn, slowly, if I learn at all. So, yeah, so this is actually a Matchbox kit from 1983, which was, I guess, towards the end of their existence, but at the same time, they were still putting out some pretty good stuff. And as I said, no complaints at all about the way the kit went together. Just those other two things. So yeah, so it's down to 10.5. I was pretty generous to start with. And so anyway, so here's the completed diorama. And so we have the Char B.1, not the Char B.1 bis. It's the Char B.1 B. B. I've been calling it the bis forever, you know, but I call Quebec, just because I know it pisses them off. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, so here we are. And nice little kit. Nice little kit. Well worth the $35. I'll take our little buddies away here and get a better idea of how I've decorated this up. Pretty happy with it. The plaster walls went pretty well. The figures turned out well. Figures were really nice. Nice detail. And plastic was fine. It painted up good. Little bricks on the road here. And yeah. So yeah, so I'm quite pleased with it. And the little figures, you know, they're fun. They don't take very long, and they sure don't take very much paint. And you know, figures can be really intimidating, and they were intimidating for me too. They still are to a large extent. But anyways, yeah, my first attempt was 176 figures. The World War I tank crew, and they turned out pretty good. You know, you just have to focus and, you know, be careful, and you know, they're tiny, so it's not that big of a deal if you make a mistake. And so yeah, so there you go. So I thought these turned out pretty nice. Get them up real close there. And now, in World War I, French troops wore gray uniform. Well, at the beginning of World War I, they wore blue and red, which they soon found out wasn't suitable for a modern battlefield. Makes you stick out like a sore thumb. Especially when you're wandering around in the mud and through the fields and everything. You know, it wasn't a Napoleonic War anymore. So, in any case, so yeah, so they shifted pretty quickly to the gray, and but by the time World War II rolled around, they were in khaki. So these are kind of a hybrid in the sense that the way they were actually outfitted, with the helmets and the well, I'll call it web gear, although it wasn't web gear. You know, I'm talking about the leather strapping and, you know, ammo belts and all that kind of stuff. So, anyways, yeah, but you know, at this size and scale, you know, who's gonna complain? So, anyways, I painted them up khaki, and so they've got the gray putties, and their shoes are brown mostly because they're walking in the mud. We've got a guard at the door here, and two soldiers marching along beside. To give you an idea, and this is accurate to scale, but if you take a look, you know, it's pretty tight space in there. I think it was two crew of two on this. One here in the front and one in the turret. Maybe it was three. But yeah, a pretty tight squeeze in there. And of course, this was the Renault FT.17. Very famous tank, and a very good tank. I mean, it's a light tank, obviously, just a small tank, and but it was very well suited to kind of a newer kind of cavalry role. You know, they could move quickly, and they needed the shoe on the back here to keep from doing this, which was probably a better idea than the wheels that the British had, although theirs was a much heavier tank. But anyways, yeah, so a decent little tank. I went into it with the original review on both of them. Excuse me. And so, anyways, yeah. So there's that, and I think it turned out pretty good. I'm happy with the way the tracks turned out, all muddy and so on and so forth. And again, at the time, most of the painting most of the camouflage on the tanks was hand done, and they adapted it to whatever they needed. So we've got two different schemes here, and two different eras actually. So this was World War I, and after the end of the war, they still had some use. I think mostly as training tanks, but you know, by the and then this one here, the Char B.1. This was an interwar tank. And this was a very heavy tank. It was meant to be a main battle tank, and it was developed in the 20s and 30s. And very, very a heavy tank, and a good tank. But at the same time, by the time World War II rolled around, it was obsolete. So, anyways, I'll get it up here. We've got the driver here, and there was no top hatch. It was actually an observation kind of hatch thing. And then there was a hatch in the back here that opened up so the commander could sit on it. I actually lost that part, so I had to fashion something. But anyways, so yeah, it built up quite nicely. It's not perfect, but at the same time, there's some little adjustments to be made to the tracks and so forth. But yeah, very nice. And I'm pretty happy with the way the figure turned out. And yeah, so, and we've got ourselves a nice little diorama here. And that'll, oh look, there's a giant ant about to attack one of the guys. Wonder where that came from. Anyways, some kind of little bug. Sorry guys. Okay, yeah, so yeah, that's a nice little diorama, and I mean, heck, I mean, you're a kid, back in the 80s, I mean, you know, this would have been great, and they did a whole series of these, and there's quite a few of them still available through Revell, so, so there you go. And, oh, before I go on, shout out to Peter Oxley, under the weather this week, both he and Mrs. O. Chesty, flu, cold, whatever stuff, nasty. So hope you feel better soon, Peter. and edit that out. Hope Mrs. O forgives you for giving her the cough and the whatever. Yeah. So, love you all. Love you both. And hope you get well soon. Okay, and next little update. I started this. The Revell auto transport trailer. I'm really starting to get into the cars now. Oh, and I took out the I took this out. I've been working on the Jenny. Dang, same. The second coat of paint blistered again, and it's starting to really aggravate me. I don't know if it's the primer that I'm using or what, but I'm gonna go without primer from now on. So I have to strip down the whole thing and do it all over. And I mean, it was a cheap kit, so it's not really worth it. But anyways, I got all the other stuff done, so might as well do that. Okay, so sorry to bounce around a little bit, but I just wanted to mention that the paints I used here, it was all Vallejo paints. They're water-based acrylics, and I really like them. There's some cracking here that I'm going to have to go in and repair. But in any case, it's dark earth, and I used a gray primer, dark earth, and then I used, and that's for the dark and the dark and the dark. The red was the orange rust. I think that's Panzer Aces. And this had a bit of chocolate. What is it called? Yeah, it was Panzer Aces red rust. Chocolate brown to give it a darker hue. And I used the gunmetal gray as a base coat on the tracks, and overcoated that with the brown. So yeah, I'm pleased with that. Okay, back to the star of the show. Da 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 da. Okay, here we go. The '57 Ford Del Rio Ranch Wagon 2-in-1 kit from Revell. Newly tooled custom parts. This was originally tooled in 2012 by Revell, and it's their catalog number 14548. It's 125 scale, level 5, which means more than 120 parts, and there's a fair bit of skill needed. Thankfully, Revell's moved past their being crappy model days. They're doing much better now. They're doing a lot better. They've updated the instructions. They're producing much better kits, better toolings. And I learned from Peter Oxley the other day, too, that the fella who used to do the research for Airfix has now moved over to Revell. So, things go around, whatever. So, yeah. So Revell's stepping up. They're doing it. They're doing it right. I'm not saying their kits are perfect. I'm not saying they're the best in the world. I'm still a Tamiya guy. But I've built quite a few Revell kits now, and the biggest dog, which ended up almost being binned, was the ancient Lancaster. And I think that was from sometime in the it was in the early 60s, maybe, yeah, it was in the early 60s. And, it was a nasty kit. But I've got a new one, a Dam Busters version, which I think is Revell. Yes. And yeah, I picked up that Lancaster kit at Matt had picked it up at an estate sale. I picked it up at NRC Hobbies, our hobby shop in Nanaimo here, and I think it was about $10, $10 or $12. So I figured, what the heck? How can I go wrong? Yeah, well, I'm glad I didn't spend more than $10 or $12 on it. The figure's painted up nicely. But there were the same old problems with fit that you get with Revell, and really bad problems with fit and really bad flash. The molds hadn't been cleaned up at all, and but it was from back in the day, so I wasn't expecting much from the kit. So it's not a bin job; it's a paint mule, and maybe there might be a crash diorama in its future. But anyways. Okay, so here we've got this one, and this is a 2-in-1 kit, and which means it can be built two ways. Usually it's a stock or custom, and so yeah, there it is. As for the history, the Ford Del Rio Ranch Wagon, which in some places is called a station wagon, it was only produced for 2 years, 1957 and 58. So this was the first model year, and then 1958. And it was the idea was to compete with the Chevrolet Nomad and the Pontiac Safari. And to stay in the two-door station wagon or ranch wagon market. Seems kind of weird to have a two-door wagon, but in any case, whatever. Excuse me. And but it was a good car. No complaints about it. It was I think it used the Ford Falcon chassis, which was also not exactly the Mustang was based on the Falcon, but anyways, after the 58 model year, the first in 57 they outsold the Nomad, but that was Chevrolet's top end car, whereas this one was more of a basic model that you could put lots of options on, including the two-tone paint, and it had the split rear door, so the window part came up and the gate part went down, and this was quite superior to the GM type that had the roll away or the electric window that would go down into the tailgate, and then the whole thing would open up. But there were a lot of problems with leaking on those when there was heavy rain or really wet roads and stuff like that. So yeah, so there you go. So it started with the basic body, and then they offered the options: higher quality interior, exterior bright work, higher grade vinyl upholstery. Vinyl, oh yummy, delicious. And they also had a choice of either Ford's quote-unquote mileage maker 144 horsepower 6, or its Thunderbird 215 horsepower 312 cubic inch displacement Y-block V8. And for that, 9-inch front drum brakes. So yeah, there was a two-piece tailgate, and in '57 they sold over 46,000 of them, which was more than the Nomad had sold for all 3 years of its production combined. But Ford terminated the program at the end of '58 model year after selling only just under 13,000 of its sport wagons. Instead, what they did was they shifted it, instead of branding it as the Del Rio, they offered the 1960 Ford Falcon as a station wagon as well. And I'm pretty sure, I think my dad had a Falcon station wagon. He had a Ford wagon at some point. It was from the '60s, so I expect it was a Falcon. It was yellow, and it was just it was a car. You know, he needed a wagon to haul around his tools and all his stuff, and you know, he had the Corvair. That was his hobby car, and so he was always picking up parts for that and doing that stuff and doing all those things, which he never taught me how to do. But anyways, bless you, Dad. Okay, so here we are, and as far as a full size went, they went with the Squire, which was based on the old, I think it was the Mercury Bermuda, and yeah, they went with the Squire, and later the Country Squire. It was a 4-door, a full size, 6-seater, whatever, and so yeah. So this would have been ideal if you're kind of semi-rural and you need to haul stuff around a little bit from place to place. And whether it's sacks of feed or dirt for the garden or whatever the case may be. So it did have back seats, but you had to flip the front seat forward to get in and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, so I saw this. I know I pledged to minimize my kit buying this year, and I intend to do that. But I've got one built, and the Jenny's underway. Got my mojo back. I wasn't too interested in doing anything after we got back from holidays. It was a wonderful trip, but quite exhausting in some ways. So here we go. And you can see here, there's opportunities for beautiful detailing. And plus, it's a really cool looking car. I mean, come on. How could you go wrong? That's, I'd be happy to drive that today. The only thing I wish is, that I don't think from the reviews I saw of the parts, I wish there was a visor over here. So I'm going to see if I have another 125 kit that has a visor that I'm not going to use on that kit. Otherwise I'll have to fashion one, which I don't look forward to. So anyways, yeah, so this is 2024. And on the back here they give you the skill level definitions. One is basically a snap together, snap tight, what they Revell calls snap tight. And full play value. Then level 2 is also snap tight. But it might need some tools. With the level 1, you don't need any tools. You just it takes about 30 minutes to put it together. And then you go up to level 3 and level 4. This is a level 5, 120 plus pieces, ages 13 plus years. When they say 13 plus years, I don't know. I'd like to think that 10-year-olds are a little smarter than that, but anyways, whatever. And yeah, you need glue, paint, and tools, and they also include a build time of 7+ hours. So, oh, and I should say on the Char and the Renault, the diorama, I think that was altogether a total of about 10 hours. But I don't rush things, so um, it took about an hour or two, an hour and a half to put together the smaller tank, and then another hour or two to put together the larger one, and et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know, maybe 8 hours. So yeah, okay. So but it's nice. They give you kind of a general idea what you're going to need as far as time is concerned, and also on the back here, this is really cool. I don't know if you can see it. There's a nice holographic QR code here, and behind this stuff, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like three-dimensional Ford. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. Remember those things you used to get? Sometimes you get them in the Cracker Jack box or whatever, and it's just a little piece of paper with treated in a way, and you turn it so that the scene would change. It's the same kind of thing here. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, Ford official license product. And on the side here, they give us the paint guide. They give the Revell paint codes, and then the regular whatever the color is, and of course they also put a little thing there on the side about the Revell tools and stuff that you can get now in Canada. So this was obviously produced for the Canadian market. 2024 copyright, as I mentioned, and on the side they list the features. 8-inch, it's 8 inches long, 197 parts. Now, because it's a 2-in-1, you're not going to use all of those parts, but still, that's a pretty good part count. It's all molded in white, and the decals are water slide. And their little note here says the 1957 Fords were fresh styling, and they were arguably the best looking cars to come out of Dearborn during the 50s. Ford's 57 station wagons were longer and lower than ever, and the style leader of the bunch was the two-door Del Rio Ranch wagon. Revell has painstakingly designed this highly detailed kit to allow the builder to choose a factory stock Del Rio or a California style street machine. Now you can also do this as like a lowrider style, so I think that's what I'm going to do. And speaking of California, terrible fires going on down there. I'm not going to say anything political. I have family down there in San Diego, and I just hope that everybody stays safe, and that they can rebuild things responsibly. So, like I said, I'm not going to say anything political about it. It's just we're people are thinking of you down there, and although there have been some nasty comments about you get what you vote for and things like that, well, that's not the way to be in a time like this. It's a terrible tragedy. People have, scores of people have died, and so much property's been destroyed. So much carbon dioxide and other nasty chemicals been released into the air as a result. So hopefully this will encourage them to put in place more environmentally and ecologically friendly management policies. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So we're thinking about you down there in California and SoCal. I'm a NorCal guy, not real fond of Southern California, but still, it's where people live. And as far as the Palisades fire goes, yeah, there's a lot of people who are really wealthy who live there. There's also people who own small businesses that depend on those people, and other folks who live nearby who are just regular folks, and they're not in a position to just go pick up and go to another house that they happen to own somewhere. So we have to think about all those things. Okay, so enough of that. Here we go. Okay, here we go, as the song used to say. Nicely wrapped in shrink wrap plastic. Hey, I stopped calling it cellophane finally. Came in the famous Amazon gray plastic bag envelope. Well, the big reason I got that, the big auto trailer, is for display. I got quite a few cars and trucks to build, and so want a place to put them. Might as well put them on a trailer. Have another special thing coming tomorrow, so we'll have another review on that, and then I expect that'll be it for kits for a while. The high command will be displeased otherwise. But I'm happy to get back to the bench. And so we've got a nice top open box. And it's full. So carefully remove stuff. Try and remember how it goes. And we've got the old style black and white instructions. No glossy instructions. There were glossy instructions for the Char and the Renault, big glossy, but anyways. But not for the auto trailer or this, so I don't know. Okay, so we'll get to the instructions after. Out of the way. Okay, so start at the bottom and work our way up. Excuse me. Okay, so we have some very nice chrome parts. Chrome grill. Chrome, these look like windshield wipers. Hubs. Engine parts. I'm not seeing any flash. And the vent grill is open. There's a tiny little bit here in between. I don't know if you can even see it, really. Put it to a certain angle. Yeah. So yeah, that's good. And then there's, custom mirrors. Looks like there's a tachometer goes in there. And here we have the bumpers. More custom wheels. Looks like this is air cleaner head. And this is the This is the Thunderbird manifold covers. I think I'm going to do this with the Thunderbird engine. I do believe the hood opens up, so that'll be well worth it. So that's very nice. And this kit was manufactured in China. Revell's been doing quite a bit of their manufacturing in Poland. And I hope they continue to shift production to there. Okay, and as promised, we're in white. We've got dual exhaust here. And I guess, you know, if you just want the stock instead of the custom, whatever. And a little bit of flash here, but nothing really to be upset about. And then here we've got the firewall, steering wheel, side panels for the interior. This is nice. We've got a little radio here, like a CB radio, or doesn't really look like a CB, but in any case, this was before CBs, so I think it was probably just like a regular two-way radio. And yeah, so we've got the shifters here. We're gonna have to be real careful with this. My goodness, can you say Pito? Yeah, so we'll be very careful about that. Okay, and then here we've got the car body. I haven't given up on military models, but, you know, lately I've just been, you know, more interested in this kind of stuff, so don't hate me. Okay, so we've got two sets of tires here. These look like, there's no branding on these. And then, oh, okay, here, I'll show these to you. These are just the regular tires. They've got nice tread. You know, that's going to have to be dealt with, but you have to sand stuff down anyways, make it look worn a little bit. So, yeah, those are nice. They're not super flexy, but good enough, anyways. And these are the custom wheels for the lowrider, so I'm not going to take those out. These are softer than these. Then we've got rear tail lights. And the chassis base, floorboards. There's some texture here, although I see some pin marks here. I don't know, we'll have to figure out what goes on with that. Yeah, again, little or no flash, just a little trimming up to do. Nice detail underneath here. Can you see that? Now, this is copyrighted 2015, so which fits in with the 2012 tooling and retoolings, or not retoolings, but what do you call it? New parts. And looking at the car body here, It's no complaints. It's perfect. Again, tiny little bit of just a little bit of flash there. You know. Nice holes for the door handles. Some detail on the back. Unfortunately, this isn't designed to open. Although I suppose you could make it if you wanted to, but I won't. Got the nice two-tone roof here. I don't know, it was swept back a little bit. A nice little sweep back there. It really is too bad that they didn't provide a... There's some screws here, probably to screw the body into the something. And yeah, so. Okay, so far so good. Okay, and so this kit was about $54 Canadian, with and that it was free Prime, Amazon Prime shipping. Excuse me. Okay, we'll go to the next bag here. Okay, and we've got one engine here. From the size of it, I think it's the Thunderbird, but I'm not sure. Maybe not. And then we've got the seats and the stowage area stuff. Very basic detail there. And we've got more details here, radiator stuff, car stuff. And then we've got the, looks like, I guess, the rear bench seats. Oh, here's the cargo area. And more stuff here. I think this is for the back of the tailgate. Interior. And here we've got the dashboard. This hood hooks in the front, so it will lift up that way, which is pretty cool. And the instrument panel here is pretty basic, and you'll yet to be seen if there's a decal for it, or it'll just have to be painted as is. And then we have the body frame, the frame here, the chassis frame. And I guess these are some kind of spacer filler things. Yeah, so there you go. That's very nice. And my British friends in particular are very excited about the new Airfix releases. And well, they should be. They've been waiting a long time for some really new stuff. And it's good to see that Airfix responded to people's pleas, requests, whatever you want to call them. But yeah, they did kind of take their time about it. But, you know, it's like, I know Peter Oxley and others kind of ranted on about, you know, why aren't many in the model community were puzzled, querulous, as to why Airfix hadn't done more recently. And it really did look like for a while there that they were losing their inspiration. They were losing their passion and their mojo. They just kind of, you know, banging out kits for old guys like us to buy. So anyways, so yeah, that's good. Okay, so here we've got, you know, we got the crankcase, oil filter, more engine parts. See, I do know something about stuff, not much, but and then we've got leaf springs. Looks like two different drive shafts, or two pieces of one big drive shaft. I don't know what these are for. This is the drive shaft. I don't know what they look like. They look like shock absorbers, but they look a little big for that. But anyways, what do I know? And more wheels and wheel hubs. Engine bits. Leaf springs. Probably for the front. More engine parts. I got a lot of engines to build. They'll go into Joe's Power Plus. Haha. And this is something to do with the front end. And then we've got the differential and the rear axle. And then some kind of plugs for the wheels. And as always, the challenge will be getting all this stuff back in the box. And then last we have the clear parts. We have the windshield, the rear window. I'm not going to remove the clear parts. They look fine. We've got headlights, side lights, rear lights. The old, remember these? The no draft windows? They were kind of triangular, and you know, you could open them up a little bit so you could get some air. And so yeah, so that's very nice. Okay, so let's take a look at the instructions here. Nice booklet style. And we have, well, you know, for a civilian vehicle, you're not going to expect a lot of, excuse me, what do you call it? A lot of decals. So we've got white wall decals. I think this is the speedometer. And it looks like we've got a couple of really tiny decals for the dash, and we've got black or gold accents for the side detailing here. I really like this style. the black top and the red lower part. So I think I may do it that way. Excuse me. And we've got two types of license plate here. One is California, the other is Illinois. And then we've got grocery getter, which I guess, you know, if you wanted to do this like a delivery vehicle kind of thing. And then license plate grocery getter. I think I've got some other license plate in 125 that I'd rather use. And then we have the ranch wagon decals and the FORD, which will go across the front of the hood. So, not a lot of decals, but hey, I mean, it's a car. Okay, and although it's all black and white, you get a nice picture here. You get the usual warnings and description. When you see the star like that, it means it's a chrome piece, a chrome colored piece. And then, like on the side, we get the paint guide, as well as instructions on the decals and the legend for the assembly instructions. And then here, you know, it's good. And I mentioned this before. It's good that Revell gives you a complete parts inventory, but I wish they do. I wish they do just illustrations of the sprues or the sprue rack. But anyways, this is the way they do it, and you know, it's not the end of the world. To me, it doesn't really give you anything. They don't give you yeah. So, not knocking you, Miss Tamia. Don't be upset. I love you, babe. I'll be home soon. Okay, and okay, so here we start off, and we have actually, we're talking about the engine here, and we actually have three choices: stock, custom, and supercharged. So, you know, you can add the supercharger, and then we have the, you know, everything's labeled. You know, you have to decide what you want to do ahead of time, right? So, you know, for A and B, you do it like this. For the supercharged model, you do this. And same here. For C, so you have to be very careful about that. And like I said, you have to decide ahead of time. And as always, you should be going through the instructions, making sure you understand everything and that it's all clear to you. And that also helps you decide which version you'd like to build, whether it's based on your skill level or whatever the case may be. Okay, so here's the A version. That's the stock. I expect that's the smaller engine. And then we've got the supercharged engine. And then that fits into the frame. And then from there, the exhausts go on. And they show you here, you've got the two different versions. Oh, that's why the leaf springs are different, yeah. So for the regular one, you've got the big ones, and for the low rider, you've got the other ones. So that makes sense. And then you've got the drive shaft, and all that goes in, blah, 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 blah. This goes in on top here. As I said, it's part of the front end. And oh, and this looks like these are parts for the floor, it looks like, or underneath the dash or whatever. Oh no, this is the gas tank. There you go. That's the gas tank. It goes there. How about that? Yeah, you do need that. And those little pieces there, they go in there on the side. Excuse me. Then we move to the seats. And this is nice because these go in separately. So you can paint them up ahead of time, and then the body just goes on top. Then we got the steering wheel, and there's some decals here, but it'll be easy to detail. And and then we've got the obviously it's a standard manual transmission because there's a clutch. And then we got the battery case, the air filter, and then we've got the that's the top of the radiator. All right, and then you've got the hoses here, shows you how to hook those up. And then we've got A or B as far as these are, I guess, the stock. And then these are the custom tires. Oh, those little screws are axle pins. So I expect the wheels will turn. And last to go on is the wheels, either with the standard hubs or the custom ones. Then we've got the clear parts going into the body. It tells you to cut these pieces off and do this and do that. I think I saw on one of the reviews that I watched, these parts pretty much just snap in, which is nice. You don't have to worry about glue, but I suppose you can do whatever kind of glue you want. And then last, the hood goes on, or the bonnet. And then the whole thing goes on top of the chassis, and you put in the headlamps and the bumpers. I think there's two styles of bumper, which is kind of like no bumper. Yeah, you've got two choices here. And then you've got all the little bits and pieces. There's a nice chrome hood ornament. Sport side mirrors, door handles, all that stuff is all, yeah. And then we've got decaling. It just says trim details may be painted to match photos on the box. So whatever you want to do with that. And they do give you this here, and when they're showing you the decaling. So you can do it like the box, or you can do it however whatever you want to do. Yeah. yeah, I did manage to get everything back in the box without squishing it all and wrecking it all. So that can go there. This will be my next project. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm on to the cars now. So, there we go. There's a good angle without the mister on. Okay, and so now, rating the kit. I use a 12-point scale. It's 10 standard points, and that's 2 points for the packaging, up to 2 points for the sprues, up to 3 points for the parts, and up to 3 points for the instructions. I also allow for each of those 4 categories a quarter point bonus for a wow factor, any kind of wow factor. 2-in-1 is a wow factor, which takes it up to potentially 11, and then up to a full point for what I call value. And you know, that's basically, you know, what you get for your money. Doesn't mean it's the cheapest kit in the world, but for what you get, is it a good value? So that brings it to a total of 12 altogether. As for packaging, that gets a full 2 points. It's a good sturdy box. Not too big, so stuff doesn't fly around and slide around. And you know, there's a couple little dents here and there, but that's not Revell. That's Amazon. So yeah, and you know, sealed in plastic, so that's good. And so, and then for the sprues, they get a full 2 points. Nothing to complain about there. Everything was good. Then we get down to the parts. That's gonna be 3 1/4. You gotta, you know, I gotta give the quarter point bonus for the extra. You know, you've got the 2-in-1. You know, they give you different wheels, different tires, different engines. So yeah, that's very good as far as that goes. And then for the instructions, they're not in color, they're not glossy, but I don't take points off for that anymore. I give a bonus quarter point if they're like that. So, and the instructions, they look fine. Everything looked, you know, really easy. As opposed to the trailer, which is a little confusing at times. But that might just be me. So, anyways, okay. So yeah, full 3 points for that. And as far as value goes, you know, $54. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a half point bonus on that. Okay, and so that takes us to 10.5 out of 12. You know, the detail's not super. You know, yeah. I mean, you know, I mean the detail. I mean, it was a 1957 car. You know, they weren't that fancy, and but yeah. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 10.5 on this evaluation. It looks like a really nice model kit, and which is why I got it. And I think it'll be fun to build. And it's going to sit outside Joe's Power Plus service station, along with a couple of other things. So yeah, so that's it for today. Actually, I have to correct myself. It was 10.25 plus a half point for the for value, which brings us up to 10.75, which is very respectable. Okay, so that's it for this kit, and hope you've enjoyed the show. Gone a little over an hour. So that's it for tonight. Hope everyone has a really nice evening or day, depending on when you're watching this. And apologies for the noises that the phone makes on occasion. So yeah, this looks like a great fun kit, and you know, don't get me wrong, but you know, Revell seems to be doing all the right things, and you know, as I've said before in other videos, there were, you know, in the past, I wouldn't have touched a Revell with a 10-foot pole, as they say. But they've really turned things around. I think their nadir was Revell of Germany, when everything just, yeah, it was, yeah, they were producing good kits, and they were reboxing old kits without, you know, telling people how old they were and nasty. And so, but they seem to have turned things around, which is good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to see it as well. So, yeah, a lot of fun, great kits, and I'm not saying they're the best, of course not. But you know, especially for cars and stuff like that, they are. They're, you know, they're a real leader. You know, Tamiya and others, you know, they have cars, but you know, it's Revell and AMT, to a lesser extent, MPC. Um, you know, that are really in the civilian vehicle market. So yeah, all right. So thanks again, and we'll see you soon. As I said, there's another kit coming that has something to do with all of this, and so I'll have a review on that in the next day or two. So thanks for watching. Thanks again to all my subscribers. I got a new subscriber today. Thank you for joining on. Really appreciate it, and it's always nice to hear comments and see comments, and you know, if I've got something wrong, done something, said something wrong, you know, speak up. Go ahead and say so. I don't mind being corrected at all. It's how we learn, and you know, sometimes no matter how well you look at something, you don't get it. And or you misinterpret what's going on. So all right, so that's it for today, and thanks again, and we'll be seeing you soon. Bye now.